Hello guys, welcome back to my Easy Guru channel, and till now we have almost discussed 90 questions regarding software testing, and we are back with the 10th part. So let's discuss a few more questions regarding software testing. The first question is, what is the difference between authentication and authorization? So let's discuss. The first difference is authentication is an act or process verifying whether the user's credential match the data that is stored in the system, while authorization is a way to grant or deny the permission to users to access that particular application or resource after authentication. Authentication verifies if the user can work with the server, while authorization verifies if a user is allowed to use the application based on definite criteria and conditions. Authentication is the very first step in any security process, while authorization process is done after the authentication process. Authentication can be partially changed by the user, while there are definite criteria and conditions. It cannot be changed by the user in authorization. All the standards in authorizations are set by the owner, manager, or the admin of the system. In authentication, data is moved through ID tokens, while in authorization, data is transferred through access tokens. Let's understand what are the common ways of authentication. So there are passwords, OTPs, biometrics, social media, PIN, security questions, and third-party applications. While in authorization, there are access control lists, there are attribute-based access controls, there are Sunweb tokens, then there is SAML authorization, and there is OpenID authorization. So in authentication, we can say that it is the very first step in any security process, while authorization is followed by the authentication. Authentication verifies if user can work with the server, while there are definite criteria and conditions in authorization. Hence, it verified if the user is allowed to use that particular application. So let's move forward to the next question. The next question is, what is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? So HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. So the only difference is in HTTPS, S stands for secure. In HTTP, it has a provision of standard rules for web browsers and servers to communicate, while HTTPS has a provision of encrypted and secure identification of a network server. In HTTP, the data is transferred in the plain text, and in HTTPS, the data is encrypted while the transferring the information. So in HTTP, as the data is transferred in the plain text, it does not require any certificates. And the speed of HTTP is faster than HTTPS as there is no encryption. So HTTP is unreliable as compared to HTTPS. While in HTTPS, S stands for secure. So the data is encrypted while transferring the information. That's why it requires some certificates. So there are SSL or TLS digital certificates. HTTPS is slower than HTTP as the data is encrypted, but this makes reliable than HTTP. In HTTP, there is a higher chance that transmitted information is available to hackers. So HTTP websites can be hacked. While in HTTPS, the transmitted information is secure as it scrambles the data before transmission and it descrambles the data to its original data at the receiver's end. So HTTPS websites cannot be hacked easily. HTTP by default operates on port 80, while HTTPS by default operates on port 443. So let's understand again what is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. So in short, we can say that the speed of HTTP is faster, while because of the encrypted data, HTTPS is a bit slower, but it is more reliable than HTTP. The next question is, what is the difference between session and cookie? So the sessions are server-side files located on servers and contain user data, while cookies are client-side files which are located on the local computer and hold user data. When the user quits or cancels or logs out from the browser, the session expires, while cookies can be cleared by the user whenever it is required. Sessions can store an indefinite quantity of data. In a particular session, user can store up to 128 MB, while cookies can store only certain amount of data. The browser's maximum capacities to store the cookies are up to 4 KB. In session, it stores data in encrypted form. Hence, comparatively, it is secure than cookies. In cookies, it stores data in simple text. Hence, it is not at all secure. So let's understand what is the difference between session and cookie. The sessions are server-side files and cookies are client-side files. Session can store the data up to 128 MB, while cookies store data up to 4 KBs. Sessions are encrypted and cookies send a simple text file. So it is comparatively not secured. Let's move forward to the next question. The next question is, what do you mean by defect clustering? So in a software application, bugs are not distributed evenly throughout the functionalities. Instead, most of the bugs are found in smaller number of functionalities. This non-uniform distribution of bugs in the application is referred as defect clustering. So this defect clustering is based on the concept of 80-20 rule. This 80-20 rule is also known as Pareto principle. So what is this 80-20 rule? Let's understand. It means 80% of the bugs are found only in 20% of the modules in the application, and remaining 80% of the module contains only 20% of the total bugs. So let's understand what is the defect clustering. So what happens in software application? Sometimes the bugs are not distributed evenly. Hence, this non-uniform distribution of bugs are referred as defect clustering. Just understand one thing, that it is also known as Pareto principle, and it is based on the concept of 80-20 rule. Let's move forward to the next question. The next question is, what do you mean by globalization testing? The globalization testing in software testing, it is a type which concentrates on validating whether the application supports the global standards like language, currency, time, etc. It is based on the location from where it is accessed. Globalization testing mainly focuses on the application's behavior for geographical locations. It tests the language formats, number formats, currency formats, and time formats, keeping in consideration of a wide set of customers across different countries. So in simple words, if the software is used amongst the customers across the different countries, then we have to do the globalization testing. And for that, we have to keep in the mind that there are some standards like language, currency, time, or the number format. So globalization testing, it focuses on the application's behavior for geographical locations. The next question is, what is a showstopper defect? So let's understand what is a showstopper defect with one example. A defect that is not allowing a user to continue further process is called a showstopper defect. We can simply put it as any bug or defect that is breaking the application or causing important functionality failure is called a showstopper. So let's understand this with one example. So the example is the user is testing an e-commerce website. The payment is going to be done via debit or credit card. So the user enters the required details and clicks on the submit button. So in this case, the expected result is transaction completed successfully. But sometimes we get the result as the website displays an error as a web server error. So this error then will be known as showstopper defect. So when we see the web server error, we cannot continue the further process. And that's why this error is called as showstopper. So we can say that this bug is breaking the application or causing the important functionality failure. Let's understand the next question. The next question is, what is a test suite? So let's understand what is a test suite. It can be defined as a collection of test cases planned or considered to test the software. It defines the purpose and objectives of the test cases that are created to test the software application. A test suite has detailed instructions and informations on the system configuration for each collection of the test cases that are going to be used during the testing. So it makes testing simple and flexible. So let's understand the meaning of this. In short, test cases make up a test suite and it is created after the test plan. So test suite, it is a collection of test cases that are going to be considered to test the given software or the application. And this defines the purpose and objectives of the test cases. Now, let's understand why test suites are useful. So in build verification test, that is BVT, a collection of test cases that carry out the base validation of the most functional areas in the product. The tests are executed after each product build. Also, before the build is deployed for the user by a larger audience. In the last part, we have already discussed what is the build. So, in build verification test, the tests are executed after each product build and hence the test suites are important. Then there is end-to-end integration test, a collection of test cases that verify product boundaries and it ensures that the integration points between the products are validated. Then in functional verification test, a collection of test cases that focus on a specific product function. So this ensures several aspects of a specific feature. Hence, test suites are useful for build verification test, end-to-end integration test, and functional verification test. Let's understand the next question. What is Big Bang approach? So the Big Bang approach is an integration testing strategy that involves all units that are being linked at once, resulting in a complete system. So in simple words, we can say that this approach is waiting until all of the parts of a software systems are completed before starting to test it. This strategy can get difficult or risky. So why this strategy is difficult? Because it is difficult to identify any error found and fix the bug as the whole system is being tested at once. So this approach is feasible only when it is not possible to test individual components of the system. This approach is known for its simplicity because it involves testing all parts of the software simultaneously. It is considered time-saving. It is beneficial for testers to test all parts of the software at the same time rather than testing each part separately. And Big Bang approach is good for small-scale projects. So, the Big Bang approach, what we do, we wait until all part of the software testing are completed, and once they are completed, we start the system testing the system completely at once. So we test all the parts of the software testing simultaneously. And this is time saving and good for small scale projects. Let's understand the next question. The next question is, what is the difference between load and stress testing? So in load testing, it checks the behavior of the application under normal and high loads. While in stress testing, it checks the behavior of the application by applying a load greater than the maximum load. Load testing includes checking the peak performance of an application, its response time under various load levels, the number of the users the application can handle. While stress testing includes checking the stability of an application beyond its bandwidth capacity and response time. The outcome of the load testing is load balancing problems, bandwidth issues, system capacity issues, poor response time, and throughput issues. So these are the outcomes of the load testing. While the security loopholes with overload, data corruption issues at overload situation, slowness, memory leaks, these are the outcomes of the stress testing. Then there are different tools to do this load testing. For example, we use WebLoad, LoadView, LoadRunner, Smart Meter IO, LoadUING Pro. These are the load testing tools. While LoadRunner, JMeter, NeoLoad, these are the stress testing tools. So let's understand in simple words, we check the behavior of the application under normal and high load, that is the load testing. And checking the behavior of the application by applying the maximum load or beyond that load, we can say that is the stress testing. Now, let's move forward to the next question. The next question is, what is the difference between burn up and burn down charts in agile process? The burn up charts and burn down charts. You can see the images. So these charts explain the work that is left to be done. These are the burn up charts. While burn down charts, these explain the scope of the product. We get the visualization of the work that has been completed so far. In burn up charts, it is considered as a simple way for controlling project releases, while burn down charts considered as a simple way for controlling sprints. Burn up charts, it helps to understand whether the product is on schedule for completion, while in burn down charts, it helps to understand the speed and ability of the Scrum team. So let's understand what are the burn up and burn down charts. From the images, we can see how much work is left to be done in burn up charts, and in burn down chart, we can see how much, what is the scope of the product and how much work has been completed so far. These are the simple terms in the agile process. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching.